Welcome back to another divisional preview for the upcoming MLB season, and today we will be looking at the AL Central. But before getting into that, I will be posting these divisional previews every other day, then I will be posting my season predictions. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos. Last year, the worst team in the AL Central was the Kansas City Royals at 56-106. This offseason, they added Hunter Renfroe, Adam Frazier, Garrett Hampson, Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, Will Smith, John Schreiber, Nick Anderson, and Chris Stratton. Last season, they had one of the worst bullpens in the MLB, and that should be improved a lot this season, since they signed 4 pretty good relievers. And Will Smith has won the last 3 World Series, all with 3 different teams. They also signed Bobby Witt Jr. to a 11-year, $288 million extension after having a breakout season, batting .276 with 28 doubles, 11 triples, 30 home runs, 96 RBIs, and 49 stolen bases. And I think he can make another huge jump this season. They also have Vinny Pasquantino, a 26-year-old 6'4" first baseman, and he missed most of last season after getting shoulder surgery. But in 61 games, he batted .247 with 17 doubles and 9 home runs. He's a great all-around hitter and has lots of power, and he just gets on base all the time. In 2022, he played 72 games and had a .383 on base and a .135 OPS plus, and last season he had a .324 on base and a .108 OPS plus. So he'll be some great protection behind Bobby Witt. Right now, the Royals over-under for this season is 73.5. I do think they are going to be much improved from last season. It would be very hard for them to make an 18-game jump, but the AL Central is a very weak division, and they could probably get a lot of divisional wins. But I don't think they're going to win the division this year, and I'm going to take the under on the 73.5. Next, the Chicago White Sox. They finished last season at 61-101. In the offseason, they lost Yasmani Grandal, Liam Hendricks, and Tim Anderson, and they brought in Dominic Fletcher, Paul DeYoung, Nicky Lopez, Martin Maldonado, Mike Soroka, and Chris Flexen. With as much talent as they have on this roster, they were very disappointing last year, and it seems like they're transitioning into a rebuild. But they still have Luis Robert, and he'll probably be an MVP candidate. Last year, he had a breakout season, batting .264, with 36 doubles, 38 home runs, and 20 stolen bases. And surprisingly, they did not trade Dylan Cease. In 2022, he was the runner-up for AL Cy Young, but last year he had a down season with a 4.5 ERA. But he still had very good strikeout numbers with 214, and I would expect them to trade him by the deadline. Their over-under this season is 63.5 games, and I'm going to take the under on that. Next, the Cleveland Guardians. Last year, they were 76-86. In the offseason, they lost Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, and Zach Plesac, and they brought in Austin Hedges, Davison De Los Santos from the Rule 5 draft, Estevan Florial, Scott Barlow, and Carlos Carrasco. I love that they brought back Austin Hedges since he's a great defensive catcher, and he'll bring a lot of leadership to this very young team. But I'm expecting Shane Bieber to have a great season, since this offseason, he went to Driveline to clean up some of his mechanics. By doing that, his velocity went back up to 93 miles per hour on his fastball, and he changed up his pitch grip on his curveball, so I could definitely see him going back to an all-star type player. And I expect Bo Naylor to have a breakout season. He is in a perfect situation for a catcher, having 3 great mentors around him. His new manager is Stephen Vogt, and he was a catcher in the MLB for 10 years and was a 2-time All-Star. His first base coach is Sandy Alomar, and he played catcher in the MLB for 20 years and was a 6-time All-Star. And he has Austin Hedges as his backup catcher, and he is one of the best defensive catchers in the MLB. Last season, in his rookie year, he played 67 games and batted .237 with a .339 on base and had a .124 OPS plus with 13 doubles and 11 home runs. And the Guardians have one of the best young pitching rotations in the league. Tanner Bibee finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year voting, and they have Gavin Williams and Logan Allen going into their second seasons. Their over-under for this season is 78.5 games, and I'm going to take the over on that. Next, the Detroit Tigers. Last season, they finished 78-84. In the offseason, they lost Eduardo Rodriguez, Jose Cisnero, and Spencer Turnbull. Then they added Mark Canha, Gio Urshela, Jack Flaherty, Kenta Maeda, Andrew Chafin, and Shelby Miller. Now this roster has a lot of depth and some pretty good veterans around their young core. This offseason, they gave their 22-year-old second base prospect, Colt Keith, a 6-year, $28.6 million extension that can also turn into a 9-year, $82 million contract. Then Spencer Torkelson, their former number 1 overall pick, had a breakout season at the age of 23, having 34 doubles, 31 home runs, and 94 RBIs. And their center fielder, Riley Green, had a very nice season at the age of 22, batting .288 with a .349 on base and a .447 slugging, and having 19 doubles, 4 triples, and 11 home runs. Their over-under for the season is 80.5, and I'm going to take the over. And finally, the Minnesota Twins. Last season, they won their division with the record of 87-75, but in the offseason, they lost Cy Young runner-up Sonny Gray, then Michael A. Taylor, Kenta Maeda, Emilio Pagan, and Joey Gallo. And they added Carlos Santana and Anthony Desclafani. And they also traded away Jorge Polanco. But a lot of those players that they got rid of this offseason just makes room for a lot of their young prospects. Last year in Edward Julian's rookie season, he played 109 games and batted .263 with a .381 on base and a .459 slugging for a .130 OPS plus, and had 16 doubles and 16 home runs. And former number 1 overall pick Royce Lewis is primed to have a breakout season, and he's coming off of a very good season. In 58 games, he batted .309 with a .374 on base and a .548 slugging, and had a .150 OPS plus. He hit 7 doubles, 15 home runs, and 52 RBIs, and he could potentially be a superstar in the future. The over-under for the season is 86.5. I'm going to have to take the under on that, since they did lose Sonny Gray and really did not replace him with anyone on that caliber. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. Goodbye.